Welcome back on the AM show. We talk about something crucial to all of us. What is that? Food. You eat. So do I. We need that sustenance to stay alive. But what kind of food do you eat? Where do you get it from? And if I may ask, how safe is the food you consume? Do you know? Well, that is why this morning we're having a conversation on food safety, because guess what? This month, June, is Food Safety Month. But we're asking ourselves as we go out there and get a thing or two to consume, how safe are they? Joining us for a conversation, we have Florence Kuchi. She is Metropolitan Public Health Director with the AMA. She's back in the studio with us today. A very good morning to you.
Good morning, Uncle Ben.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
You're looking fantastic.
Thank you. It's by the grace.
We thank God.
Sure.
Let's start with what you've been up to since the last time you came into the studio and what your work with us has yielded so far, even before we get into food safety issues.
Thank you, Uncle Ben. Let me take this opportunity to say good morning to all the environmental health practitioners in Ghana. Let me say a very good morning to all. I bring you greetings from my Metro Chief Executive, the first mayor of Ghana. Yeah. Joy in collaboration with AMA Clean Ghana campaign has really yielded a lot, both physically and non-physically. If I say physically, it means things that we can see. There were times some restaurants, hotels, drinking bars were shut down through their mode of operation that were not conforming to the AMA food safety or sanitation bylaws. And as we are speaking now, those areas has been renovated and the places are now one of the best. And even patronage has also increased. That is one bit. Then talking about the non-physical, people have also come to learn that things that they were not giving much attention to meant a lot to them. And it not talking about that, it is just fantastic. And I think it was not just a coincidence that we collaborated. It was really a good something that we did and we are still doing and will continue to do. Yeah.
Well, we thank you for the collaboration, and of course, quite a lot has been achieved,
Sure.
And we'll continue on that trajectory. But Food Safety Month, let me just put it to you, the food we consume, even in urban centers like we find ourselves right now, how safe are they? If I asked you that, what would you say?
Thank you. I would say it's 50-50. I will not say it's 100%.
50-50?
Yes, because food safety...
That is scary.
Yes, Food Safety Month, the theme for this year's food safety celebration is food standards. Food safety saves lives. Food standards saves lives. That is, food standards saves lives.
Okay.
It means there's supposed to be standards in everything that we do. Even our way of living, there are standards. Hence, food safety standards saves lives. If you are a person who is producing food and you do not go by the normal standards that you are supposed to follow and you just do it anyhow, you are killing people indirectly. Because mostly I say you are what you eat. If you eat well, you spend less on drugs, on medications. If you don't eat well, you spend more on medication. So we are what we eat. So food we eat outside let me say, it's a food chain system. The farmer, what does the farmer do? The person who goes into the farm to bring the food, how is it transported? Where bulk is being breaking, how is it done? Even to the retailer, how does the retailer do? Then the consumer. You may pass all the tests, but maybe the consumer, in a way to even consume the food, might contaminate the food. So it's a long chain that everybody needs to play his or her part properly for us to have a holistic food safety to consume. Because study says that globally, about 6 million people get infected with one form of foodborne diseases. And about 420,000 people die annually through foodborne illness, which is so scary.
Last year, I suffered a terrible spate of food poisoning.
Which is so scary.
Terrible. And nowadays, I've noticed it's becoming ever more common.
Yes.
Especially for people who may, from time to time, purchase this or that outside, not from home.
Not from home. So food safety is a collaborative effort. So we say food safety, the One Health approach. Talking of food safety, the One Health approach, it means when you want to talk of food safety to be properly done, it is a triangle or a tripod system. You have the human health at the top, you have the animal, and then you have the environment. The human and the animals are interlinked, but the factors that will lead to the compromising of the food safety is in the environment. So you need to bring all the three together to ensure that the collaboration is done properly for us to have food safety.
And sometimes it goes beyond that, like we saw in the anthrax situation up north recently, where people were consuming cattle that have been infected, and that came with its own range of problems. But in terms of food safety, there are so many different dynamics. You've spoken about, we'll be getting to the theme shortly, but when it comes to our landscape, for example, those who sell on the streets in different places, you've been talking about the permits they require as you go around. How many of them actually do have these permits? When you go around, you look at a lot of them, even big, entities that are selling food, selling drinks. You don't see any such permits.
Yeah, I can tell you for sure. As for the permitting, the regulators, we are very serious on the permitting. We go around, we visit, we monitor, we ensure that anybody that is selling, when you look into our AMA food safety or hygiene section 9, it talks about if you want to put for sale food to public consumption, you must first of all undergo medical screening. And if you do not have the medical certificate, you are not supposed to sell. And when we come to you and you do not have the medical certificate and you are selling, you are being taken on and processed for court. But
is that effective? There are still people who are around public lavatories and stuff selling food.
Uncle Ben, the issue is, we cannot be at the same place at all the time. And even human resources is also another thing.
We've had those discussions,
yes,
I know.
It's
you
also,
are severely constrained.
It's also another thing. And I always say, this is just by the way talking. The feasibility of police officers by everywhere you pass does not say there is no crime. There are still crime one way or the others. So as much as the law enforcer or the regulator is trying as much as to ensure that the right thing is done, there are still some recalcitrants somewhere who are also hiding doing things. Let me tell you this thing. I'm not trying to scare anybody. We are on surveillance on people who process condo for sale. It has come to our notice that there are some chemicals that they put in the condo for it to multiply. You can go and little meal, and then when you add that in, it will expand and you get plenty. So we are on the people producing this condo.
So like a sort of yeast that will make it rise.
Like a source of yeast, but not the yeast we use in bread making and other things. So we are on surveillance. Because whenever you do it, somebody will definitely hear it and come out. And sometimes they don't even fear or feel shy. People just go their normal way to go to mill their corn, and they'll ask you, Mommy, can you imagine? They don't think that there's anything wrong in doing those things.
Is this hazardous to human health?
I mean,
for example, for the palm oil, those who use Sudan Dye-4 and all of that, it's carcinogenic. So is this hazardous to human health?
This one is now that it has come to our notice. So we are on work with the Food and Drug Authority. We are still on surveillance to identify where such things are taking place. Then samples can be taken for lab analysis to see what is going on. And the people who are into this are not going to be left safe. Talking about food safety, it's not just about the fufu or the banku that we eat. Even the meat. We are crying about illegal mining. Have we thought about the illegal slaughtering? Nobody has thought about the illegal slaughtering. When you go around
unapproved butcher areas,
go
and all
around
of that.
only Accra, the number of unauthorized slaughtering for areas that people are slaughtering animals, who inspect these animals? What kind of diseases are they carrying? And they are sending all these carcasses into our markets, and we are buying. Where is it slaughtered? What kind of water has they used to clean this animal? We are not looking at all these things. When you go to the Public Health Act, 2012, Act 851, Section 109, it talks about displaying for sale wholesome meat for public consumption. Even the mode of transport is also another way. How do we transport the meat from there? Even if you send it to the rightful place to go and slaughter, and inspection has done, how do we transport it? You see people transporting meat from the slaughtering facility, the abattoir, in open vans, and people are sitting on top, lying on them. When they get there, they just carry this meat on their dirty shirt, and they go to put it down. People come to buy and go to consume. All these things need to be checked on. When you go to other side of the countries, you won't see somebody transporting meat in an open van. It is in a cold van to the cold store. It's a cold chain system.
I mean, if you go to some of the markets even, you'll see meat products and all that, and there's a fly in the sieve or something.
All over the whole thing. And the flies
by the time you go and consume it,
defecating on this. And what the flies bring out what we call larvae on it. You understand? Then the contamination starts there. Before you get them, the meat has already contaminated and color has changed. Just last 2 months, we have to close down one chalk bar within the Accra Metropolitan Assembly because they use contaminated food, meat, to prepare food for public consumption. And there were food poison. About 18 people were infected. We have to close down the place.
But speaking of which, is the AMA as vociferous? Because some people have alleged that when it comes to the chop bars or the local eating spots, you exercise your power there. But when the bigger brands, I don't want to mention them, but you know them.
Yeah, I do.
Those that have come from outside, those that are local, when those bigger branded entities fall into the same food poisoning, trap, you don't treat them that way. What is the reality?
I can tell you it is not true.
It isn't?
Myself, I've even gone to inspect an ice cream bar. And most of these ice cream vendors are being done by these the big guys you are talking about. In their storeroom where they store the raw materials for preparing the ice cream, I can tell you about 85% of all the raw products were expired.
Wow.
Yes, were expired. We have to take them out. It was a very serious issue, but we stood on our grounds. And the people were put to law, and the right thing has been done. Today, when you go there, formally, when officers go there, they won't allow you into their store. But today, when officers go there...
But how is that even possible? How can you come from another country, you're operating a renowned outfit here, and officers of the law? Yeah. Sometimes I think this country, things simply don't work. Your officials go there and they don't allow them to get into the store.
Even sometimes, you see, you are there, they feel they know people more than you. The calls they will start to make to inquire this. So what I always say is, I'm coming there to protect the public health. So far as the public health is concerned, I'm not perturbed with whatever call that you are making. When the caller returns back and wants to speak to me, I will only explain to the person at the other end that this is what I'm here to do, and this is my mandate. I am not just doing it because I'm mandated to do it by law, statutorily. So I am doing my mandate. And if I explain to you, you understand. And they will tell them, you allow them to do their work. Don't interfere. That is it. So we are working. But sometimes, people would think that people are doing, let me say, selective because this one is this or this one. That is not it. Nobody is exempted when it comes to food safety. Everybody eats. And if the food you are going to eat is being compromised, it's going to have an issue on you. When you fall sick today, it is not you alone. When you are admitted in the hospital, you are increasing workload in the hospital.
Yeah.
Medical personnel will stand on you. Even your family members who are supposed to go to work or to do something will have to prepare food and bring it to you to the hospital for you to eat. It means a lot of things are going to be cut short. And there will be, productivity will be standstill. Just one person.
And when I had my latest bout, which got me off a lot of, food in some places. I mean, it was really bad.
Yeah.
I was this close to the
God
unfortunate
forbid.
happening. No, but that is the reality.
That is the reality.
I have seen people. I have known some people whose relatives have died on the back of food poisoning.
Yeah. Yes,
it's a reality.
It is not that you are exaggerating. It is true. That is why I'm saying food safety business is everyone's business. Yeah. It's not one person's business. You, the producer, what are you producing? You, the farmer, what chemical are you using to spray on your farm product? Yeah. There are some chemicals that when you spray on the farm products, at least the chemical residuals should spend about 1 week before you can harvest that product to sell it in the market. But because of what? Economic hardship. And some nowadays, our eyes want to get things that are very succulent. Yeah. You get to the market, we are looking for very fresh and succulent things.
You look at some of the leafy vegetables.
Yes, the leafy vegetables.
They pour them on them, you see them green, very nice.
That is it.
In fact, watermelon, one that really got me, I think about a year or two ago. Watermelon, they would just put it on it. So you buy the watermelon, it looks good on the outside, but when you cut it...
It's white. It's white. That is it. So the farmer, what are you putting there? It's your duty. The producer, what are you producing? Are you trying as much as possible to ensure that the thing you are producing to bring it out, it is done? The regulator and the enforcer. Are you ensuring the hazard analysis critical control point?
And just to add, since we're having this conversation, those who prepare the food, we already know the bit about sometimes using rotten tomatoes and onions and all of that. But now the new trend too is that for some of them, they will not even let the food cook properly. That is the problem. Because when a lot of these microbes, when you cook to a certain temperature, they die. Some of them are much more stubborn. But they will not even let the food cook properly. The least bit, they are okay with it. Why? Because of the cost of the fuel they use. Yes. Gas or firewood or charcoal. So so you eat it, and if you are unfortunate enough to be one of those people, you could end up, in fact, the next place you could end up would be a hospital and maybe the morgue if God doesn't intervene. And that is crazy.
Sometimes people will just tell me that I'm a woman and I'm not putting on woman face. So when somebody...
People tell you that?
Yes, people tells me that. When somebody refer that to me, I just look at the person and I laugh. Because if you know what I am doing for you, you will not tell me that. Just imagine you've gone to where they mill the fresh tomatoes, peppers, and others. And people are there with rotten tomatoes and pepper and onions. They are going to use it for shito. Early this month, we have to intercept a basin full of tomatoes, pepper, onions that were going to be used to prepare shito. And the woman was being sent. We sent the woman to court. We trace to the place and we have to go and confiscate everything that she has used there.
What happens to these people when you take them to court? What are the penalties? What are the fines?
So that is it. So when you take them to court, depending on the law that you use, when you use the Public Health Act, the fine is so punitive. If you contravene, you are likely to pay not less than 12,000. And if you are not able to pay, yes. If you are not able to pay, you can go to remand for 6 months. But if you are using the assembly bylaw, the highest punitive penalty is 100 penalty unit. Yes.
So I want us to quickly address these two things as we, share our thoughts on this conversation. What do you eat? Where do you get what you eat from? What do you check? What are some of the things you check before you make a purchase for what you're going to put inside? And it includes drink as well. So it's food safety, but drink is also considered that. What are you putting? What are you ingesting? What should people be looking out for when they make purchases? let's say the environment, for example, the type of food. When you see the food and it looks this way or that way, just walk us through what basic things people should look out for.
Okay, first of all, when you are going to the market to purchase your food items, you get to the market and you see somebody display for sale the food items on the ground. Even if the person spreads something and display, please don't buy that food.
There's a market for no.
They are not there.
The plantain, the yam, they are always on the. Some are on tables, but most of them are on the.
Because in AMA, we have taken them through a lot of training. We are telling them to root and display 3 inches below ground. So when we come and then you have displayed and then it is on the ground, action is being taken against you. So when you go to the market, don't buy food that is being displayed on the ground. When you go to the market, look at the appearance of, let me say you are going to buy tomatoes, and you've realized that the tomato has, it is rotten or it has changed color. Some molds are growing on the tomatoes. Please, there's some compromise of bacterial growth in the tomato. Don't buy.
I hear that is also carcinogenic or something.
Don't buy. Yes. If you are going to buy maize and then you see that the maize have grown some molds on them, we are talking about aflatoxin. And we all know that aflatoxin is something that is very poisonous when it enters into our system. You don't buy. Please, when you are going to buy food, ensure that you buy food that is displayed on a table, a well-laid table. A well-laid table.
Okay. So those are some of the things.
These are some of the things.
Let's say you go to a restaurant, very quickly. We have just about some 4 minutes to go. But sometimes you go into a place that you would deem, oh, this place is safe. The place looks nice and all of that. But you might spot a few things. You go to a few places. I've spotted cockroaches, for example, in a few places before, and prompted establishment that, look, you can't have a facility like this and have these creepy crawlers dancing all over, the place. What other things should we look out for? So
when you go to the restaurant, we always give them, that is where the HACCP comes in, Hazard Analysis Critical Control Point, which include disinfection and pest control. You must have your pest control or disinfection timetable, at least every month. Since it's a food production entity, every month, because cockroaches and other things grows at where there is food. So you need to do disinfection every day. And when you do the disinfection, you don't just do it by yourself. You either engage the assembly or a certified disinfectant, disinfection company that will come to do this for you. That is what we do. So you must disinfect your restaurant monthly. That is one of the things. And then also, talking about food, it's not just only the food. Look at the people hawking with the medicines in town.
As for those ones, that's a whole conversation on its own.
So AMA, we have started arresting them. We arrest you, we confiscate it, we prosecute you, we don't give it back to you.
What I find even more worrying, a lot of them claiming they have, and me, I have never patronized, I will never patronize, because I sometimes shudder at how people can risk their lives.
That is the thing.
You go and buy this thing, you don't know what the contents are, they tell you this and that, you go and use them. And a lot of people, I'm not so surprised that a lot of people are having fertility issues, impotence and all of that, because I know a lot of them sell purported aphrodisiacs and all of that. People use them without trusting them, and before you realize...
They don't have knowledge about the drug they are selling. It is not every drug that is good for everybody. Because when you go to the hospital, before a physician will prescribe medicine for you, they will check for your health history and know that this is good for you, this is not good for you. But you go and stand in the, let me say, the lorry station or in the car, and then just imagine the sun that is even scorching on this drug. And then they send it back, the following morning it is there. AMA, we are not going to allow it again. We have started.
So are you saying that people should not patronize these? They have no permit?
They have no permit. They have no idea about the kind of medicines they are selling. They go there, they just go to lie that they are sending it to a community chemist and then end up putting them in a transparent bags and they are selling. People should not patronize such medications. They are causing a lot of issues, health issues in the country.
Ghana for Samwate Mwasum Okotoa Wawujejiji. You've heard it from here. If you go and patronize them and something happens to you, it's your life. your security first. But to wrap up the conversation, so you say the theme for this Food Safety Month is food standards save lives. Food standards save lives.
Yeah.
What are the standards you're going to implement or enforce to protect us all? That'll be the final bit. So
when you are talking of food standards, that is where the One Health concept comes in. Food standards, we know it is done by Food and Drug Authority and Ghana Standard Board. But before you even go to the Food and Drug Authority for standardization of your food product, the first thing they will ask you to do is go to the assembly and go and have yourself screened medically. And then where you are producing the food is being inspected and report is written from the assembly given to you in addition to your medical certificate. Then you send it for your standardization. So that is we are the baseline. You need to get this baseline equipment before or you go for any standardization. So the collaboration there is there. Communication collaboration is very, very key when it comes to food safety.
Florence Nagode.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming. I have a comment for you. Ruben Brian Barfor says, keep up the good work. Mom, you're doing a good job indeed for Ghana. I'm watching you from WA. Don't show a human face. Do the good work you're doing. That's a message that has come through.
Thank you.
Florence Kuchi is Metropolitan Public Health Director, and she joined us this morning for a conversation.